Welcome to this week's edition of the Dakota Angler 2-Minute Fishing Report. Well, the good news lately has been that the weather has finally cooperated with us. Not as much wind, not as much rain in some areas anyway, and a lot cooler temperatures. That's been the main story. And those cooler temperatures, especially overnight temperatures, have allowed the water temperatures to cool dramatically. Now, most lake temperatures right around 70 right now. There's some locations that are even in the upper 60s. So as that temperature continues to drop, we're going to see that perch bite take off, and also the walleye bite will also correspond accordingly. So again, the bite's only going to get better from here on out. As far as this past week's bite is concerned, the lakes up in the northeastern part of the state that produce walleye included Walleye, and that seems to be the most consistent bite, as it has been the past couple of weeks. And then bitter, opits, goose, drywood, and then also Midland, North Rush, Indian Springs, and then also a few being caught at Dry Lake by Clark, but it's very weedy there to say the least. Down in the southeastern part of the state, the lakes included Thompson, Ponset, Dry Lake by Willow Lake, Henry, Madison, Sinai, Whitewood, Vermilion, and Twin. And remember, Twin is the trophy lake. The Missouri River, kind of hit and miss, especially further to the south, but it looks like the bite is better north of Chamberlain and further to the north on the river. What have guys been doing to catch the walleyes this past week? More of the same that we've been talking about. A lot of people trolling crankbaits like the Salmon Hornets, the Flicker Shads, you name it. A lot of people are snap jigging. Again, that's one of the more popular presentations for this time of year. And then other people are pulling slow death. And then also more and more people, especially with lakes with weeds, are throwing jigs and swim baits. And a lot of the walleye assassins that you see behind me have been producing some really nice fish lately. Now the perch bite is starting to take off, starting to show signs of life, so to speak. The lakes that produced perch this past week that we hear of include Walleye, Big Stone, Whitewood, Thompson, as well as a few being at Dry Lake by Willow Lake. Now, what have guys been doing to catch the perch? Again, that bite should get only better from here on out, but a lot of guys are using wax worms or maggots, and we have plenty of that here at the store. Also small minnows, and then the jig that they're using, a lot of people are using drop chain jigs like the Pilkey or the Haley, and we have plenty of those, and the Pilkeys, our price is the cheapest that you're going to find anywhere around. In this week's edition of Todd's Tackle Tips, we're going to talk about swim jigs, the swim baits, and the proper jig to use with the swim bait that you'd like to have. And the reason why I say that is because many times people don't use the proper jig, or shall I say the proper hook with that swim bait. What do I mean by that? Well, again, depending on the swim bait that you use, the thickness and the amount of plastic that you got to get through will determine the swim jig or the hook that you need to use. In other words, if you use a gulp minnow, that's pretty slim. It's very small. You can use a regular lead-headed jig and not much wide gap of the hook, but you could whatever you wanted to. But again, you could get away with a lead-headed jig. But if you're going to use a swim bait that has a larger amount of plastic, such as the walleye assassins that you see behind me, or the storm largo shads, you're going to need to have a heavier gauge hook, and then also a little bit more wide gap to allow that hook to get through the plastic and into the fish's mouth. So it's been very critical for you to match up the hook or the jig, the swim jig, with the swim bait that you're using. We can help you do that here at Dakota Angler. So if you're looking to get into swim bait fishing, come on by. We'll help you out. We'll help you pick out the swim baits and then the jigs or the hooks that you're going to want to use that to make sure that it's the most effective presentation for you at that point in time. So again, don't overlook the importance of having the jig, the right hook, the right gauge hook, as well as the right weight to get to the depth that you want it to be. And now it's time to take a look at a few photos that you sent in to me this past week. And remember, folks, if you'd like your photo included in next week's version of the 2-Minute Fishing Report, please send it to me. Send it to Todd at DakotaAngler.com or post it to our Facebook wall. Before I end this week's report, I want to remind you to mark your calendars for November 10th through the 12th for the Dakota Angler Ice Institute at the Sioux Falls Arena and Convention Center. This year's show looks to be bigger and better than ever. A lot more new vendors and a lot more selection that you will not find anyplace else. So again, mark your calendars. If you're interested in ice fishing or know someone that is, bring them along with you November 10th to the 12th at the Sioux Falls Arena Convention Center. If you want more information about it, all you need to do is go to the website at DakotaAnglerIceInstitute.com. Well, folks, that's this week's version of the 2-Minute Fishing Report. For Dakota Angler, I'm the owner, Todd Heitkamp, and as we say around here, fish on! We'll see you next week, and thanks for watching, folks. I greatly appreciate it. Stay healthy and stay safe.